guys, welcome back to the Tea Party Podcast, the podcast where you find new friends and new music. And this week, I'm joined by our first returning guest, Autumn Mariba. Autumn, I'm excited to have you on, but you brought some friends this time.
I did. Michael Keys and Elizabeth Caramonte.
Howdy, y'all.
Hey.
Michael and Elizabeth, thank you guys for jumping on here. Michael, you're from Chicago, right?
Yes, sir.
And Elizabeth, you're from Maryland?
Yep.
Well, let's do this. This will be a little bit different for everybody listening. We're going to talk a lot about kind of the songwriting process and a retreat that you guys just went on. But before we get too far into it, Elizabeth, let's talk about where you came from and kind of how you got to where you are now.
Okay, awesome. So I'm from Maryland, and I first kind of discovered songwriting through actually Taylor Swift, which is funny. She inspired me with her song Tim McGraw, and I heard it when I was about 14. And it was super cool. I just kind of heard the song on the radio and looked it up and was like, oh my gosh, she wrote this by herself. It's so cool. And then I kind of figured out that I could do the same thing. I played guitar and started when I was 12. And then I just started writing songs and kind of fell in love with it.
So were you one of those people that picked up the guitar and immediately was like, okay, I can figure this out. I know how to do it. Or did you have to work at it for a while?
No, I wish I was that person. That would be great. But my dad and my sister actually both played guitar, and they kind of inspired me to do it. I grew up listening to music with my dad. And once my sister started, it kind of became this competition between us who could play better and who could learn more songs. And eventually I beat her out, but it took a while.
So how did you get from Maryland to Nashville?
So it's a funny story, actually. I was looking for colleges, and I literally looked up music schools online, and Belmont was the first college that popped up. And I was like, all right, this is cool. I'll check it out. So I sent in my application, and I got in, and I have no idea why I did this, but I literally accepted and was like, all right, great. And I hadn't even visited. It just happened. And then the first day I actually came to Nashville was on orientation day, and it just was such a good fit. So it was a funny happening.
So you just jumped right in with both feet. You're like, this is what I'm going to do. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just going to do it. And hopefully it turns out right. And so far it has.
So, Michael, tell us about you. How did you end up where you're at now?
How I got into music was I just really started off in the cover music scene, playing the cover band back in Chicago, toured all around the Midwest doing just songs written by other people. And I only really took up songwriting about a couple of years ago. And really I was just inspired because I just felt like I had a story to tell with my experience in life, and just felt like, something that was a part of me, something that I wanted to share with everyone. So that's how I got my first start in songwriting.
Well, and is it true that your first real performance was at a talent show that you ended up winning?
That is true.
So
yeah, that was back in high school when I was 18, and I had never performed anywhere at all. I just kept singing quiet to myself until some of my friends heard me one day, and then they told their friends, and then their friends, and then pretty soon my family found out. And then the school at the talent show, my friends told me to try out, and then long story short, I won. That's really the moment that made me decide to take music seriously.
Well, and that's a heck of a confidence boost when the first time you get out there, not only are people kind of grooving with you, but they're like, okay, this guy's the winner.
Yep. Yeah, it was a crazy feeling. I still get chills to that to this day.
So how did you get to Nashville?
I got to Nashville in a really funny, kind of messed up way. So I originally wasn't supposed to be moving to Nashville. I was originally supposed to be married and living with my fiance in Seattle. We both planned to live out there until I found out my fiance was pregnant with someone else's child.
Oh, boy.
My engagement broke off, and I was just going through a lot of stress at the time because about a year before that, I lost my dad to lung cancer, and so I was just dealing with a lot of that. And then shortly after my engagement, I was also let go from my job. So a lot of really messed up stuff was happening in my life, and I was just in a really dark place. And it really just came down to when I was deciding what to do next, it really just came down to what made me happy. What was the one thing that made me happy in the world, and it was music. And I knew if I wanted to make myself happy again, I needed to pursue music more. And Nashville has just always been a place that was in the back of my mind, of something that I've always wanted to pursue and just live in. So I just packed everything in my little sedan and moved south.
Well, and I lived in Seattle for a few years. If it makes you feel any better, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Oh, I've been there quite a few times. Like, I hated it, but I put up with it for my ex-fiance. But oh well.
So when you say that you just kind of more recently got into songwriting, what was it that pushed you from wanting to play music to wanting to write the music?
Really, it's just I felt like I had a lot of experience in my life that I wanted to share, like the experience with my ex-fiance, experience with losing my dad. I just wanted to write about my feelings, and it was sort of like, I know it sounds kind of like a cheesy way to say it, write about my feelings. But I just wanted to share my story with the world. I just kind of wanted to sort of express relationships with people who might have felt the same way I did.
Well, and that's awesome. And so you kind of had you and Elizabeth both, you guys have kind of a different path than Autumn does. When she was on here the last time, we talked about, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you kind of want to be more of the songwriter, and then Elizabeth and Michael, you guys are looking more towards being artists yourselves. Does that kind of change the dynamic when you're writing a song?
Definitely, I would say so. Just because, like when I first got into writing, I was writing music that like fit more well with my voice. But then, as I started working on songwriting more, I realized I would like to like have others play my music as well. I think that'd be a great accomplishment to have like another artist sing it. And I knew in order to do that, I needed to be able to write a song to where other people could sing it and not just me.
Yeah, and 100%, like when you go into a room and you're writing a song, you kind of figure out if you're going to be the songwriter in the room or if you're going to be the artist in the room. And depending on like which one I walk into, I kind of put that head on. And if I'm the artist in the room, then I kind of focus on like what I want to say in the song that I'm going to write and like make it more about like my experiences and something I can relate to. And then if I'm going to be the songwriter in the room, I kind of put on the artist's head and try and get as much into their position as I can and like really relate to everything that they're saying and try and make it like as much as their story as possible.
And Elizabeth is really incredible at doing that. I mean, she just has a really great way of asking the right questions. And I feel like a lot of songwriters know how to ask questions, but Elizabeth really knows how to ask the right ones.
Yeah, definitely.
So nice, guys. I can do that.
So when you guys go into like a co-write situation, do you know that heading in, hey, we're going to go write for this person or we're going to write for me? Or is it something that you kind of figure out in the moment when you're there and you start writing?
I think it depends on the person I'm writing with. Like sometimes
definitely.
if I'm writing in a group of people that are both like songwriting and artists, then we kind of go in and it's like whoever has the idea and like whoever relates to it most usually ends up being the one we write for. But if I go in and the person is like strictly an artist and like knows what they want to do, then it's all about them and they're the artist in the room.
And then also too, you have those kind of co-writes to where you're with people that you write with a lot. You write with like every couple weeks or so. You just have like your own personal team. And then like with my view in that situation is I'll think of an idea and I would immediately like, pitch it to the group right away. And I say, hey, would you guys be interested in writing this with me? And they just say, like, yeah, totally. And pretty much it should be written, for my voice. But also, too, I've had other artists, like, we would write the song and they would actually sing it out as well. Like a good friend of mine, Brandon Whitley, we wrote a song called When I Hang Up. And I'm actually going to be cutting that song in about a couple months to be releasing that. But Brandon still plays it out, and he also played it at the Nashville Rising Song competition. That's a big songwriting competition here in Nashville. He played it in the first round, and he actually won that first round and moved to the semifinals with that song. So he plays that song out a lot as well. Yeah, it's just definitely like depending on like the room that you're in with the artist. It's just really comfortable for everyone to just sing their own songs that they wrote.
Well, that's awesome. And so he mentioned, or Michael, you mentioned a competition, but Autumn, I want to ask you, because the last time we talked, you were just gearing up for the finals of a competition. I'm sure everybody wants to know how that went.
Yeah, that went great. Actually, the judges were cracking up. When we walked on stage, this is ridiculous. I had Caitlin Russell, who co-hosts these retreats with me, and then a couple other friends, and then a cajon player walk on stage. And I had each of them walk on stage with a beer, and they cracked the beer when they went on stage and started chugging the beer. And then the next person went on, opened it, and started chugging it. And then we opened with a song called Beer Can that I played on the last one.
Oh, that's
So it was ridiculous. It was an absolute blast. And yeah, I've actually gotten to meet up with some of the judges and talk to them afterwards. So it was a great experience. It was a blast.
Leave it to Autumn to make it a party.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like your kind of show.
It was absolutely hysterical.
Well, so let's get into talking about these retreats. I know you talked about it a little bit the last time you were on, but give everybody that hasn't heard that episode kind of just a big overview of the way that they work.
Yeah, so we usually bring about a dozen artists, producers, and writers. Brandon Whitley, who we actually just mentioned, competed in that competition, was on the retreat. So we had, for the first time ever, we had 7 guys. We usually only have 2 or 3 guys. Sometimes we've only had like 1 guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, we don't try for that. But this time it just happened that there were actually more guys than girls, which was hysterical. And we actually had more country people than ever this time, which was super fun because usually it's 75% pop and a couple country people. So that was also super exciting. Basically, we've done 4 of them now. But we take a group of about a dozen people and we rent a cabin somewhere beautiful. So we've done Gatlinburg, we've done Sevierville, we've done Kentucky, and this time we did LJ, Georgia. We went to Georgia for the first time, which is fabulous.
It's so pretty.
It was so much fun. And we rent out this cabin, and we drive up Friday night, and we leave Sunday morning. And we actually broke our record for most songs written.
Woo-hoo!
Usually we write between 25 and 27 songs. On this retreat, maybe it was having 2 extra people, or maybe everybody was just like super crazy. But we ended up writing 31 songs in 36 hours.
Whew.
So it was pretty awesome. And then Saturday night, we do a co-writing championship, and Jake Politti won our co-writing championship. And actually went into the finals, and they tied in the finals. They had to compete twice, and it was crazy. But it was awesome. It was super cool. And we had a jacuzzi, which was a disaster, but we had a great time.
I was like, I feel like that definitely made it better.
Oh, yeah, you have to tell them about the dog, Michael.
Yeah, so we're in this log cabin up in the woods in the mountains. There's a few neighbors, I guess, that are out there. But we didn't meet them, but their houses around the lake. And I'm sitting outside with Brandon and Jake, and we're trying to come up with a write and trying to come up with a song. And who shows up? Some random dog just comes up from the lake and is like walking up to the stairs of the house and just sees us. And I'm like, this is so cool. And I'm petting this dog, and his dog is really dusty. So we just called him Dusty. He didn't have a dog tag on or anything or name. So we just called him Dusty. And I'm like so obsessed with dogs. So I was loving every minute of it. And he actually inspired one of our songs called You're My Amen. And how it first got started was I looked at the dog, I'm petting the dog. I'm like, are you real or just a sign from heaven? And Jake pointed out that line. He's like, that's a really good line. Let's go somewhere with that. So we were just reflecting off that. And then Dusty just straight up just left. And he would come back every now and then, show a little more inspiration. But yeah, it was so cool just seeing like some random dog show up.
He just fit so well with the scenery. It was like hilarious. It was like this like red, like kind of like rustic looking dog that was like a hound dog, and it just like fit perfectly with the log cabin and like the lake. It was just so funny.
Yep.
See, and that's the kind of thing that, like, you're not going to just run into a dusty dog in the middle of Nashville. You have to go to the middle of nowhere, Georgia, to find this dog to give you inspiration for a song that doesn't even involve dogs.
Yep.
It was part of the magic of the retreat, 100%.
So, and Autumn, did you really write a song before everybody else even got there?
So, yeah, we did.
With the three of us and our buddy Brandon, yep.
So, our car was like the country car. And
our
car was bawling all the way there. The whole way, we were just playing games and like jamming to country music the whole way up. And we get there, and we got there 3 hours before everybody else did. And 3 hours is how long it takes to write a song. So
There you
Brandon came up
go.
with a great song idea. And we sat down and we wrote a song, and everybody showed up and we're like, "Hey, do you want to hear the song we wrote?" And they're like, "What the hell, guys?" It was perfect. We kicked it off like perfectly.
That's awesome. So you guys drive down there. How long's that drive?
About 3.5 hours.
So you basically got there when everybody else was leaving.
Yeah,
Pretty
pretty
much.
much.
See,
Pretty much.
that's fantastic. So for people that have never been in a scenario like that, walk everybody through kind of what that process looks like. Like, are you guys just sitting around the jacuzzi with beers and just belting out choruses and then trying to find verses, or is it more structured than that?
I would say it's just, whatever you're feeling like in the moment, and just going to write about that. Because then when we all got there, and Autumn just had like a group meeting, like introducing everybody, and Autumn pretty much said to all of us, y'all can do whatever you want, but y'all gotta be back at 7 o'clock at night, 7 p.m. for the songwriting competition. So I mean, a lot of people could just been like, okay, let's hang out in the jacuzzi all day, let's go out to the lake, or let's go travel the woods. But no, we all just really just wanted to focus on songwriting and just meet a whole bunch of other people that were there and just work and see what we could find. And like I said, with the whole Dusty story, like he just came out of nowhere, and we just wrote a song about that. And I'm sure there are a lot of other inspirations from other groups that wrote songs. And then after each co-write that we did, we would each share our song, what we wrote, and then we just get together and just plan the next co-write. And I guess that's why we were able to write so many songs, because we were just all in such a great songwriting mood and just had a lot to talk about and write about.
Right, and what was so awesome was Autumn didn't like schedule everyone to be like, okay, you three are in a room, you three are in a room, you three are in a room. She like left it up to us to choose like where we were gonna write, what we felt like writing, which was awesome, because I know on like different writers retreats, sometimes they'll like schedule writes, which is not a bad thing at all, but like this one, there was so much like creative freedom to do and write whatever you wanted. Like I'm a country writer normally, and like I wrote like a pop song on this trip, and it was so fun just because I was in the mood for it.
Oh yeah, same here. I wrote like a country rap Spanish tune.
Right, and it allows you to like get out of your like little box in your head and like write with other people that have different ideas and just be like super ultra creative, which was so fun.
Well, so let's do this. You guys were nice enough to share a couple of songs with everybody. Let's start with the one from Elizabeth. It's called Chasing a Ghost. How did that song come about?
Okay, so this one was funny, actually. I wrote this one with Sophia Teeley and Adam Stecker, and we, like the first day of the retreat, kind of like all sung each other our songs and like just kind of like talked about like what our style was. And Adam was like, oh my gosh, I have to write a song with you. And Sophia, like, let's make it like a super soulful song. And I was like, oh, I'm so down. Like, let's do it. So the second day we get there and we like go into the basement, and Adam's like building a track, and I'm talking to Sophia. I'm like going through ideas that I've had, and I'm like, oh, I had this one title called Chasing a Ghost. She was like, oh my gosh, tell me more about it. And so I'm telling her, and I'm like, okay, it was kind of about like the idea of chasing, like the idea of a person that you broke up with, but they've changed so much that they're not even the same person. And she's like started freaking out. She was like, oh my gosh, I just went through the exact same thing with my boyfriend. Like, I don't even know who he is anymore. And I was like, all right, perfect. This is our song. And literally it fell out in like 45 minutes. The lyrics just kind of like came up, and she's such a good, like, she creates melodies so like amazingly in her mind, and it just like fell out, and it worked perfectly with her voice, and it just kind of came about so quickly. And then Adam set up a track behind it.
Well, and I'm excited for everybody to hear this one, because you and Autumn kind of went back and forth all day long about what song you were going to share today on the podcast. So if it came down to this one, I'm guessing there's a reason for it.
Yes, 100%.
Well, let's do this. Let's take a listen to it, everybody. This one's called Chasing a Ghost.
Stop listening. Did something break inside you? 'Cause you're not who I want
So that one called Chasing a Ghost. And Elizabeth, that song, you talk about kind of where it came from, but is it something that you see yourself keeping and moving forward with, or something that you're hoping that somebody else will cut for you?
That one, I think I'm hoping someone else will cut, strictly because the range is so incredible on that, and my voice doesn't actually range as high on that as I wish I could get on the notes. But I still love that song and like would love someone to cut it for sure.
Well, so then getting back to this retreat, I hear that there was a boy band formed, and I've seen the part of the video so far. How does that even happen?
Oh my gosh, this is the best story ever.
Oh, man.
Michael, you want to start it off?
Well, how I found out about this boy band was their names are pretty much called like men to gods, and they just decided to pull out this like one like hip hop, and you know, it wasn't really country hip hop. It was just like more like a hip hop and today's pop rap, and they just started singing, and Jake just said this one line of the song that got everyone hooked like right away. And then Adam Stecker was helping out with the beats, and when the beats kicked in, like they had like a whole choreography planned out, and they just started dancing to the beat, and we were all like impressed. We're like, holy crap! And the harmonies too were just top notch, and then there's just rap involved. They had like a whole stage choreography set up just for this, right? And it was all within like 3 hours of when we had to write a song. Like when we were writing our songs, like we were just so focused on, you know, writing the lyrics and the progression and everything, make sure that was said. Not only did they have that, but they just had to plan the whole choreography.
And
it was insane.
for those who don't get it, the joke is instead of boys to men, they're men to gods.
They said it was that good going
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
The funniest part was they had Pierre, who is like normally a country writer, like 100%, and he starts off the set and he goes, "Oh yeah, this is just your regular country song," and then you like hear the beats like set in, and everyone's like, "What the heck?" And then all of a sudden he just starts rapping, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" It was the funniest.
Yeah, I
thing.
wasn't expecting him to rap. That was a shock.
So is this, when you guys go out to these retreats, I mean, is that one of those things where you're there for 36 hours? How many of those hours are you awake?
Oh god.
Oh my god.
We were awake like pretty much, I think, 30 of those hours.
Yeah, literally. Like the first night we didn't go to bed till like 5:36 in the morning. It was,
Woke up at 9.
and it's all spent just like completely like writing and like making just the best memories you possibly can with these people that like sometimes like half the people on the retreat I didn't even like know like the first day, but like by the time we left I was like, I have so many inside jokes and just like my favorite memories with these people, and
Yep.
I
Yeah,
like,
I felt the same way.
it's like such a bonding experience.
I only knew like 2 people going on this trip, and then I feel like after this trip, he just made like a whole bunch of new friends you just want to hang out with.
Right,
all the time and
exactly.
just write.
No, 100%. Because like when you're writing music, like you get so like intimately and like deep with people because you just kind of like open your journal to them and tell them exactly what's going on in your life, and like that's I guess the best way to form a bond with someone.
Yep.
It was just so fun.
So when you're there, you're writing. When you get back, do you end up writing with a lot of those same people when you get back to Nashville, or is it just kind of hey, we did it here, and then you go back to your own little circles usually?
No, that's the coolest part is like through this, like the connections you make is crazy. Like your whole network just kind of like broadens the second you get there to like 12 new writers, which is like crazy. And like it expands like not only like your network, but expands the like knowledge you have on like music and the different types of genres. Like I wasn't writing a lot of pop, but now I'm like more inspired to write pop with these people because of like the songs that we wrote on the retreat.
Yeah, and also like depending on the groups you're with too, you didn't get a chance to write with everybody. And like for example, we were talking about our friend Pierre. I thought I really liked his writing style, and I didn't get a chance to write with him this trip. So I was like talking to him afterwards, and we're setting up a write now to do a write soon, hopefully in the next couple weeks or so.
See, and that's awesome. Like that's a great way to kind of connect new people and kind of broaden your horizons from there. And Michael, you were kind enough to give us a song also. It's called My Turn. How did that one come about at the retreat?
So that was kind of funny as well. We just finished one co-write, and Danny G, who was on this retreat, he's more known as a rapper. He comes to me. He's like, "Hey man, I I've never written a country tune before. I know you got that country style. Would you want to write a country song? And I'm like, yeah, sure. We could definitely do one. And then we were looking for another writer to jump in, and our friend Sarah Underwood, she jumped in. She's more known for like pop and mostly some country. So we hopped in on this one, and I just started playing a riff. I just started playing just some riff, and we were looking for words to it. I originally had the idea of like saying like, it's a good day to drink, it's a good day to let loose, kick off the boots, whatever. But then Sarah was just like, spinning off of that idea. And Sarah was like, well, what if we were to like turn this around a little bit and maybe talk about like a bartender that was like, working all these hours and sharing all these stories about working all these hours, but they want to have let loose too, and they want to have fun. And now that they had their weekend off, let's give them a chance to have fun. So that's how we came up with the title for My Turn and pretty much write a song dedicated to bartenders. So we were just writing this one through, and I think honestly this might have been like one of like the fastest songs written because when everyone else was writing their songs, we finished this song I think in like an hour. It's a really short song, but it has like the same structure as most country songs do, like the verse, chorus, second verse, pre-chorus, the bridge. So we were just fascinated at how fast it was written and how short it is. So yeah, that's how the song came together, and it's a pretty cool song.
Well, and when I first listened to it, I immediately thought of 3 different bartender friends, and I'm like, oh, this song is perfect for them. This describes their life to a T.
Yeah, I thought it'd be like the perfect bartender song if I played this around. I'd be like, yeah, it's dedicated to the bartenders, and I could see them just like cheering back at me, like, hell yeah, or something.
Yeah, so you always got to get the crowd involved.
Yep.
Well, here, let's do this. Let's let everybody take a listen to it. This one's called My Turn.
Well, I finally got a weekend off for mixing those martinis up for bachelorettes or someone's ex who needs it more than I do. Yeah, White Claw when he's getting tipsy, asking me if she looks pretty, and Busch Light Betty's drinking heavy in the corner booth. I don't know how I do this sober, but now it's over. It's my turn to let it loose, drink my booze at the bar, hear a song and sing all the words wrong. Dance like I'm young, they can tell that I am drunk. I don't care what anyone thinks, 'cause now it's my turn to drink. You can bet I'll leave a big fat tip, 'cause trust me, I know how it is. I'll do my best to clean my mess, but hey, no promises. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sorry that I'm only here to party, 'cause it's my turn to let it loose, drink my booze at the bar, hear a song and sing all the words wrong. Dance like I'm young, they can tell that I am drunk. I don't care what anyone thinks, 'cause now it's my turn to drink. It's my turn, it's my turn, it's my turn, yeah. It's my turn, it's my turn. Monday morning I'll be pouring for the people again, but tonight I get to be one of them, 'cause now it's my turn to drink. It's my turn to let it loose, drink my booze at the bar, hear a song and sing all the words wrong. Dance like I'm young, they can tell that I am drunk. I don't care what anyone thinks. No, I don't care what anyone thinks, 'cause now it's my turn to drink. It's my turn, it's my turn, it's my turn, yeah. It's my turn, it's my turn, it's my turn, yeah.
And that one's called My Turn. And Michael, when you were talking about writing this, you talked about writing it with a guy that's mostly known as a rapper, and country music's kind of in this weird like influx at the moment of nobody really knows what's next. There's more kind of a rap feel that's coming into it, or hip hop feel that's coming into it. Are you guys seeing that as you're out there writing with different people?
Oh, definitely, yeah. When we were writing this song, like Danny was like throwing in some like melody suggestions, like sort of resembled like a rapper's kind of vibe, and I was digging it too, and I was just going off of that, just seeing what we could fit in the song. And definitely country music is going to be like changing throughout the years. I wish it would stay country music the way it is or the way it was. But I mean, you just gotta follow with the times and just gotta write what people enjoy.
So for all three of you guys, when you're writing songs, do you feel like are you writing for the sound that you're looking to write for, or are you kind of chasing that sound that Nashville's chasing to be the next big thing?
I don't know if I chase like a certain sound. I think I go into a write and try to be like pretty open-minded about like whatever's going to happen in here is going to happen. And like, I think if you close your mind off to like writing to just one genre or like writing for specific sounds, it's like it won't make it any worse. But I think that there's more opportunities if you go into it open-minded and you kind of just say, all right, this is going to be what it is going to be. And like, you're trying like to make the best of whatever it is. And sometimes you get like the coolest sounds that you didn't even expect you'd get.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And it's also too like depending on like the rights you get, you just write like whatever you're in the mood to write. Like I mean, with the kind of song you've written, like for example on this retreat, like I wrote a country song, another country song, and then I wrote a rap song, then I wrote like this southern rock tune, so it's just going there, just playing all these different styles, and it's just depending on like the lyrics and what you want to like reach out and just say. That's really just kind of styles that I just shoot to go for.
See, and I think that is 100% the right answer from both of you. But
well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think that's just kind of the way that there's so many people out there writing now that if everybody's heading the same way, that you never stand out. I think doing it the way that you guys are, that it's a way to get your own sound out there. But before we get too far into this, I have one more question specifically for you, Michael. Well, I guess really it's two questions. One, you guys were in Georgia. Why did you pick IHOP over Waffle House? And two, why were you singing outside of an IHOP?
Oh my gosh. So I love Waffle House, okay? Like Waffle House is my go-to place. The work there is so nice. The food there is great. I love Waffle House. So, but honestly...
Is it because it was daylight?
What's up?
Is it because it was daylight, not 2 a.m.?
Maybe because it was daylight. But honestly, it was just... We were in this log cabin like all weekend, and we had such a great time, but we were just so hungry. And we wanted food like stat. And I think IHOP was the closest. So we're like, okay, let's just go to IHOP. And
IHOP serves pancakes as pretty much freaking anything. You could get chicken tenders with a side of pancakes.
That's fair.
Like,
yeah. That's fair.
I was not complaining. I enjoyed IHOP. And while really, I think for me was like I enjoyed writing this weekend was a song called "You're My Man," which I mentioned earlier. And whenever I would just get together with Brandon and Jake, we would just immediately just start singing the songs because we created harmonies for it, and we were just so hooked on this one, and we just enjoyed singing it. And we knew as we were sitting outside at IHOP after finishing our breakfast or lunch or whatever, we knew it was going to be the last time we were going to see each other, at least for a while. I mean, at least on this retreat. So we're just like, hey, one more time for old time's sake. And we just started just singing it.
Belly's full of pancakes
Yep.
and lots of good harmony.
See, that's a perfect time to sing, I feel like.
Definitely.
Well, guys, where can people find you on social media or Spotify or websites that they can keep track of you guys and what you've got going on?
I have an Instagram. It's currently not very up to date, but I'm working on a website as well as updating my Instagram. And my Instagram is Elizabeth Chiaramonte. I'll spell it for you. CHIARAMONTE_. And then the website, I'll put a link on my Instagram.
Perfect. What about you, Michael?
On all social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you can find me at Michael Keys Music. You can also find my music on Spotify and iTunes and Apple Music. I'm also releasing a new single next month on November 8th, having a single release show here in Nashville for it at Live Oak on November 8th, so that's going to be really fun. It's a song that I wrote with my friend Johnny Gwen about a few months ago. It's called Even Better. I'm really excited for it, and the production team I worked with, I think they did such a great job, so I'm really excited for that to come out.
It's a really great song. I'm really excited.
Well, thank you.
Dope.
Autumn, what about you? Where can people follow you at?
You can go on that worldwide net, www.autumnmariemusic.com, or you can stalk me on Instagram, Autumn Marie Music. Basically type in Autumn Marie Music to any search engine that you like.
Y'all, you need to stalk her because she is the funniest shit on her Instagram. It's actually hilarious. Her stories are actually the funniest.
They are. Her stories are fantastic.
They're so funny, and like all of her random polls all day, I just click on them. It's so funny.
So the real question, Autumn, though, is have you upgraded from Internet Explorer to Google Chrome yet?
You know what? You pressured me into it. You pressured me into it, and I actually downloaded it the next day.
Did you really?
Oh, man.
I did.
It's so much better, though, isn't it?
It is.
Maybe I need to hop on this train.
Telling you, that's the way to go.
Internet Explorer 2.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Internet Explorer
What is
2.
wrong with you two? Dude.
All right, I'm downloading it tonight, guys. Everybody chill out.
Oh, man.
Well, guys, thank you so much for jumping on. We're going to end this the same way that we end every podcast, and we'll just go in a circle. We'll start with Michael on each one of these, and then go to Elizabeth and Autumn. It's called the Final Four, and it's probably the 4 toughest questions that I'll ask this whole time, just because they make you think.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So
I like Jeopardy.
So the first one is, what's your favorite place that you've ever played?
Definitely Joe's on Wheat Street, back in my hometown of Chicago, Illinois.
And then mine's probably Belcourt Taps, honestly, because it's just like such a like great little environment. Like you walk in and you never know who's going to be there, but it's just like loving and supportive. I love it.
I love playing drunk at Belcourt Taps.
Hell yes.
There is nothing I like more. But actually, the one place I like more, there's a little dive bar in Kentucky that I played once, and there was a brawl while a girl next to me was playing a cover of me and Bobby McGee, and that was my favorite show of all time.
Man, you don't get better than that. Okay, how about this one? What's the best show you've ever been to that you weren't playing at?
Gosh,
That's so hard.
that is hard. I would say, oh man, this is my show. Trying to think of what was my all-time favorite show. I would say, so this is in regards to a show that we went to.
Yeah,
Or
a show that you've been to.
Show that we've been to. Okay, I would say when I saw Keith Urban at the iWireless Center in Moline, Illinois, because it was such a cool show, and like I was just singing like all of his songs, and he even invited people like up in the stage too to like sing, and I'm like, God, that should have been me. So I was definitely feeling.
Mine was definitely Ed Sheeran. I think I was like 15 or 16, and I went to Merriweather Post Pavilion, and he was doing his X tour, and it was just like such an incredible show. It was like him and his guitar and his blue pedal, and that was it. And it was so inspiring. It made the whole audience.
I went to that tour when it came to Bridgestone. I could testify that.
It was really incredible.
That was nuts. I'd say favorite show I've ever been to. I saw in Chicago, and I waited down. And wow, I got in, and I could see so fast. There was a spot.
He stands on the spot.
Literally, it was worth it.
Okay, how about this one? If you could play anywhere in the world, where would it be?
I would play in Italy at the Coliseum.
Ooh, good pick.
Ooh, getting fancy.
All right, Michael.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Dreaming big, guys.
Such a hard question. Honestly, maybe like Merriweather Post Pavilion, just because it's like my hometown and like I'd know like everybody there, and it'd just be kind of like one of those like surreal experiences if I got to play there.
Shoot, that was a better answer than mine. I felt like a jerk.
Yeah, you should.
Honestly, it would be somebody else playing one of my songs at like Madison Square.
Oh yes.
There you go. I love it. That's a good answer, too. Okay, how about this? Last one. If you could share a stage with anybody, alive or dead, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, you're killing me.
I would probably freak out if I shared a stage with Garth Brooks. I met Garth Brooks one time, and I was just talking about music and stuff. But if I actually was like on stage with him and I was singing with him, I'd just be shaking and chilling the whole time.
Mine would probably be, oh my gosh, this is so freaking hard. Probably Keith Urban, just because like he's such a solid dude. Like he never his music never wavers. It's just like always great. Like you can always count on the great. And like funny fact is I saw him at Whole Foods the other day and I almost freaked out, but I like didn't go up to him because I was too scared. But it was still like one of the best moments of my life. So,
Just Nashville things.
yeah,
Was he
literally.
like in Serial or something?
It was him and Nicole Kidman and their kid, and I freaked out. It was so good.
Wow.
I would freak out.
I'd say I said it on ours. I'll say it again. Miranda Lambert.
Oh, hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Hands down. There's no one I'd rather sing harmonies for.
And she's so good live.
God, she's so good. I mean, badass of the century. You know, I mean, just to even be in a 10-foot radius of her.
100%.
Well, guys, thank you so much for jumping on here. I appreciate it so much, and we'll definitely have to do it again. Soon. Maybe I'm heading to Nashville next year. Maybe we'll do a live podcast down there.
Oh, hell yeah.
Are you really?
That would be
Wait.
awesome.
You have to let me know when you're
Oh,
gonna
for
be
sure,
here.
for sure. I'll be down there probably the end of May for my 30th birthday.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
We'll have to party for your 30th.
See, I figured I would just call you guys.
I'm-
You could point me in the right direction.
Oh my God! Wait, I love that. I'm so excited.
That's amazing.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So
much for
this
having
is
us.
awesome.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. And before everybody gets out of here, be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. And go like these guys on social media. Follow them because they've got some great songs out there. But you're listening to the Tea Party Podcast, the podcast where you find new friends and new music like Michael, Elizabeth, and Autumn. We'll see you in the next one.